Hi, I'd like to give you a quick overview of how to use Qredo's integration with MetaMask Institutional, commonly known as MMI, and how to perform a DeFi transaction. So I'm logged in to our web application with a user called Doris. Now I'm also showing on the mobile a different user logged in here, John. Now the reason for that is because ultimately Doris is going to perform or initiate a transaction and John is going to approve it as a custodian. So one of the prerequisites for the MMI integration is that it must be done within an organization. Now an organization allows you to invite colleagues and give them various permissions over your Qredo wallets. So Doris is logged into her personal account. She's going to create a new organization. We're going to call it Theta Holdings. Now I'm showing you this on a demo environment, so I can just put some junk in here just to be really quick, but you need to fill out the correct details. You will have also needed to go through Consensus's onboarding process to get a pre-approval to use this. So I'm going to hit continue. Now Doris is setting this up, which means she automatically becomes an organization administrator, and we can see that she's been added here with that role. She will be able to do everything within the organization. So I'm going to search for John. Now, before we can search for a user here, they must have a Qredo account. So I'm going to search for John, and I'm going to make John just a custodian. We can add him there. Now, I'm also going to search for Alice, and I'm going to make Alice an administrator, so she has full rights over everything. She gets these three roles: fund manager, trader, and custodian. It's just worth pointing out what these mean. An org admin can change the membership and invite people for an organization, and only an administrator can create a fund. And then a fund manager, once they're assigned to a fund, they can change the membership of the fund and they can add wallets and assets to a fund. A trader, as the name implies, can connect, in this case, to the MMI extension and perform a transaction. And a custodian approves transactions, and you can mix and match these. In this case, an administrator has all of those rights, so we'll add Alice with that role. The next one we're going to do is Bob. Search for Bob. Let's make him a fund manager and a custodian. And then finally, we're going to do Charlie, and let's make him a trader and a custodian. So that's enough for this demo. I can review the organization, and if it's all good, I'm going to create it. Now, a couple of things happened there. On my phone as John, I got a pop-up, a notification asking for approval to join Theta Holdings, and I'll come back to that shortly. On Doris's screen, she is asked if she wants to switch the account to her new organization, which I will do. It's just worth pointing out that organizations are completely distinct from each other, even though you're a member of multiple ones, and they're also distinct from your personal account. So I'm going to switch across. Right, there's a couple of things I want to do first. So I'm going to go as Doris into the settings, and I'm going to look at the preferences. Now, I'm showing you this on a demo environment where I only have access to testnet assets, but I still need to enable them. They're currently disabled. And if you want to use testnet assets, you will also need to do this on our production environment. So I'm going to click Edit Preferences at the bottom, flip the switch, continue, and save the changes to my organization. Now that's enabled. Now if I look at the members and roles, we can see the 4 people I've invited. And if I scroll across, it says awaiting approval. This is really critical, because you can't add them to a fund until they've accepted their invite to an organization. So we can see John's invite on his phone. He's going to approve that with the usual biometric and PIN pattern that we use in the Qredo mobile app to either approve or reject transactions. And then I'm going to confirm that. And you can see that gets updated here. Then what I'm going to do off screen is just accept the invite from Alice, or for Alice, Bob, and Charlie, and they've all gone green. Now the other prerequisite, I mentioned before that you need to go through Consensus's onboarding, and once that's been approved, they will then ask us to enable the MMI connection for this organization, Theta Holdings. I've just had Theta Holdings configured to allow me to create an MMI wallet. So I'm going to go to my holdings page and I'm going to create a new fund. Let's call it DeFi Fund. Just gives description of demo. Hit continue. Now, we created the organization. We had two administrators, Doris and Alice. Because they're administrators, they have full rights over any fund we create. So you can see that they've specifically been added to this fund already as a fund manager and trader role. Now, if I hit the drop down, we can see the two other users. Bob was just given fund manager role at the org level, so he can only be added with that role into this fund. And similarly, Charlie was only a trader, so that's the only role we can assign him to in this fund. Now, click continue. Now, for Qredo, we need to set up two custodian policies for each fund. The first one is a transaction policy. This normally governs transactions that happen between a standard Qredo wallet and another standard Qredo wallet, either one-way or two-way. Now, to set a policy, it's simply a matter of hitting the drop down, and you can see everyone in the organization that has custodian rights. So I'm going to choose John, Alice, Bob, and Charlie. I could also choose myself as Doris because she's an administrator. She can be a custodian. And I'm going to check, set a threshold of 1 of 4, just simply for the demo. It just means one of these 4 people, for any wallet that this policy is applied to, just need that one of those 4 to approve it. For a real world scenario, we typically recommend a larger threshold, 2 of 4 maybe, so that you always have to have approval from at least 2 people rather than some individual being able to do that on their own. And it's absolutely critical that you can meet this threshold for the transaction to be approved. So maybe have a larger pool, something like 2 of 6 or something like that. Now hit continue. This is where we define the second policy that we need for a fund. It's called a withdrawal policy. This is normally used to approve transactions that move funds off the Qredo network from a standard Qredo wallet. So I can set that policy up in the same way, but just as a shortcut for my demo, I can hit this button and it copies my transaction policy and it applies it to my withdrawal policy. Now I need to add wallets. So I'm going to call this an MMI DeFi wallet and the type. Now, a standard wallet is not connected to MMI, so we're going to ignore that. So I'm going to choose a connected wallet. What we're going to connect it to, currently we support standard MMI and also MMI on the Ropsten test network. Now, as this is a beta program, we'd probably recommend that you start on the Ropsten test network. There aren't that many DeFi protocols that support testnet. Uniswap is one of them. And then if you're comfortable using that, you can start using live assets. We'd recommend just small amounts initially whilst we're still in beta. But for my demo, I'm going to choose a testnet wallet. Now, we created those policies at the level of the fund. They're really just templates at that point. And I can choose here which one of those to apply to my MetaMask wallet. I can either use the transaction policy, the withdrawal policy, or if I wanted, I could have a completely different policy and create a different group of custodians. I'm going to choose to inherit from the transaction policy. I can save that wallet. I can hit continue and create the fund. Okay, if I drill down into the fund, we see the connections. We could have multiple wallets connected. In this case, I've just got one. And we have a button here that says View Connection Settings, and you'll see that for each MMI wallet. Now what this does, it takes me to a page within the organization settings, and the reason for that is because we have a single button here to connect to MMI, and this button will allow me to connect any wallets that I have, any MMI wallets that I have created in Qredo, to connect them to the MMI extension. So I click the button, we get permission dialog. So giving permissions for the MMI plugin to access that wallet that I've created in Qredo. And here it actually tells me which wallets to connect. Now, I've only got one in my organization, and we can see it's called MMI DeFi wallet. That's what we called it. It also gives you these tags here The first one is the fund that the wallet is in, and the second one is the organization. So you know that you can connect the right wallet if you've got multiple ones. And that's done. So if I go to the MMI extension and look at the account selector, currently account 1 is selected. This is the account that you get when you first install MMI, either by creating a new account with a list of seed words or by importing some existing seed words into your setup. It's important to note this is not a Qredo connected wallet, it's just a standalone MMI wallet. And underneath that you can see the wallet we've just connected, and this time it's also got a Qredo tag, so we know that we're connecting a Qredo wallet. Now the next thing I want to do, I'm going to do a swap on Uniswap shortly for ETH for some Uni tokens. So what I want to do is I'm going to add the Uniswap token to MMI, and I happen to have the contract address to hand. And I can go next, add the tokens, go back to my list of assets, and we can see we've got 0 in each. Now I want to deposit some assets in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the address. Now I'm actually using a standard orange MetaMask wallet off screen, and I'm going to paste in that address, and I am going to send 1 ETH across. Now that's just going to take a few seconds to arrive. My orange MetaMask wallet is just for demo purposes, but that could be any compatible wallet that is your source of funds. It could be your exchange. And in fact, we've got the pop-up on the bottom of the screen, and we can see it now in the wallet. So let's go to Uniswap. I'm going to click Connect Wallet, choose MetaMask. We get a pop-up asking for permission, and in fact it tells you all the accounts you've got in MMI that you want to connect to Uniswap. We're going to stick with the Qredo wallet and then connect that, and that's done. Uniswap can see that we've got 1 ETH in here, so I'm going to swap 0.1 ETH for some Uniswap. Hit the swap button, we confirm it in Uniswap, we get the standard MMI dialog with the transaction here and the confirm button. The extension works exactly the same way as the standard MetaMask, with a key difference. When I hit confirm, instead of executing that transaction, it's going to go to my custodian. So I'll do that now. I'm going to have to wait a few seconds for our back end to kick in, and then a few things are going to happen. Cool. So a couple of things. Firstly, I'm going to, on John's phone, the custodian, he got a pop-up notification, which I'm going to tap. I'll come back to that shortly. Doris was the one that was making the transaction. She sees this window here informing her that there is an operation to do in Qredo, specifically a custodian approval. So let's just move this window somewhere here. Now, before I approve it as John, as one of the custodians, as Doris, I can go in and have a look into my wallet, and in particular this tab here called Approvals, and we can see there is an approval outstanding. The status is currently authorized. That means that she has authorized it by clicking the confirm button in MMI. But if she wants to see a bit more detail, she can go here. And the important part here is to look at the custodian approval. She can expand that and see the list of custodians, John, Alice, Bob and Qredo. In this case, it's a simple 1 of 4 threshold that we need. So if I go back to John's phone, he can currently see the details of the transaction, how much we're sending, and then he's going to approve it. On Qredo, you approve transactions on the phone using your biometric that unlocks a key that is used to sign this request. And as an additional factor, something you know, a 6-digit PIN. And then I can confirm that transaction, and a few things happen. First of all, the window that was here disappeared, so Doris knows that that's completed. She also sees this dialog turn green, and we can see the green tick next to John. If I go back to Uniswap, we just wait a couple of seconds for that transaction to hit the underlying blockchain, and there we go. And that is a transaction complete, and we can see the balance correctly reflected in Uniswap, and more importantly, also reflected in the Assets tab of the MMI extension. Thank you.